Welcome back to my channel Lomzy Sews. In today's sewing tutorial, I will show you guys how to cut and sew a bustier top with straps and Basque waistline. If that's what you're looking for, continue watching till the end and make sure not to miss any part of this video so you don't miss anything. If this is your first time coming across my channel, welcome to my channel, and don't forget to turn part of the community by just clicking the subscribe button. It's free. Just click it and turn part of this community. And to my returning subscribers, thank you guys for always supporting my video and sharing my video out. Let's start with the tutorial. To draft this, I'll be using a basic block I made for bustiers and corsets. I'll be dropping the link in the description section. If you have been following my tutorials and you have watched how to cut the basic block for bustiers, you should be aware of this particular pattern that I'm using. Is a freehand pattern and anybody can be able to make it, even a beginner. I made the tutorial very detailed. If you're a beginner and you're watching this, make sure to watch the tutorial on how to draft the basic block, and then we will continue with this one. And if you have a basic block for your bustiers and corsets, you can also use the same technique I'm going to use for this bustier with strap. The only thing I have done is I have contoured the underbust and also the armhole. So the upper side, you can adapt this same technique I'm going to use now to do that. I have contoured the underbust and I've also contoured the armhole. The next thing we're going to do, if you have watched this video, you will understand what I'm talking about. So make sure you watch the video on how to make this basic block. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to draw the neckline, and we're going to contour. So let me guide you on the lines I have here. From the center front, what I have here is the bust span. The bust span I'm using is 4.5 inches, and that's what it is. And here is my bust point. So the first thing we are going to do now is to draw the neckline. From the shoulder point, I'm going to come down 7 inches and I'll mark this. I'll go ahead and square this to the other side, and that will be the square neckline that we're going to be using. If you want the neckline of yours to be lower, you can come down like 8 inches, but that should be the least you can come down, else 7 inches is okay. So I'll go ahead and square this line out like this. Next is to contour the neckline. So on the center front, I'm going to mark 1 inch for that. I'll go ahead and connect this to the bust point. And also on the side, I'm going to go in with 1/2 inch. So because we are making a strap, it has a strap, that's why the dart width is not that wide. So I'll go ahead and connect this line like this. Next is for me to true the dart. You guys already know on my channel, if you have been watching my video, I like to true my dart. So I'll go ahead and measure whatever I have on this dart leg and make sure I have the same thing on the other dart leg. Fortunately, they are the same length, but if yours is not the same length, make sure to increase the leg. So I'll go ahead and use my marker to draw these lines out. I like to use my pencil first so that I don't mess up my pattern. I'll also go ahead and use my curve ruler and draw the line. I'll also use my marker to make the neckline to be visible here. Next thing I'm going to do is to draw the shape of the strap. So from the dart leg, I'm going to come in like 1 inch and I will square that line up to the shoulder line. This will give me the first line for the strap. I'll go ahead and make the strap width of 1.5 inches and connect it like so. So this will be the strap width for the top. I'll go ahead and mark the under bust line. This will be needed. I'll show you why. Next, I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. After cutting this out, next is for me to contour the strap. If you don't contour your strap, it will gape. So I'm going to cut this open here and I'm going to make a dart there. So I'll make like 1/2 inch dart or less. Just make a dart so that that place will not gape. After cutting the dart and closing it, the shape of the strap will change. So you also put your another pattern paper under it, and you're going to redraw the shape of the strap. So I'll go ahead and redraw the shape of the strap. Make sure to maintain the strap width when you're redrawing the strap. So after drawing this line, I'll also measure out the length of the strap, which is 1.5 inches. If yours is 2 inches, maintain the 2 inches and redraw the line. This will be the final line for my strap. So I'll go ahead and cut that out. If you notice, you will see that this top has a Basque waistline. So I'm going to cut this out and we're going to make it a Basque waistline, and that was why I marked the under bust line. To do that, I'm going to close the waist dart. Don't mind the bust area, you know, it's just for us to get the design for the Basque waistline. So I'm going to close the waist dart like this. This is for me to extend the length of the waistline and also draw the design of the Basque waist. I'm also going to change the shape of the line. So from the waistline now, I'm going to come down on the side seam. I'm going to come down 3 inches, and on the center front, I'm going to come down like 8 inches. If you want yours to be longer, you can come down, you know, more, but I just want mine to be 8 inches. If you saw my picture, you will see how it didn't come down that much. So I came down by 9 inches from the center front. I'll go ahead and connect this line like this, and then I'm going to change the design of the line. I'm going to mark it like this, so you can maintain yours to be straight. It's just me, I just wanted this to be like this. So I'll go ahead and cut this out. The front pattern is ready. The next thing I'm going to do is to add 1/2 inch sewing allowance all around, and I'm going to use this to cut out on my main fabric and my lining piece. Next is to draft the back pattern. For us to draw the neckline for the back, I'm going to come in from the center back. You come in 4 inches and you're going to mark 4 inches like this, and from there I'm going to mark the length of the strap, which is 1.5 inches. I'll go ahead and connect this as you see me do. And also for the neckline, I'll also draw the neckline like this. So I'll go ahead and cut off this place and also this place. Remember, we added 3 inches to the side seam. I will increase the back with 3 inches also and cut out on my fabric. This is it after cutting out on my fabric. As you can see, I've added sewing allowances to them and cut out on my main fabric and also my lining pieces. For the main fabric, the front main fabric, I added hairstay to it, as you can see. Next is for us to sew this. For me to sew this, I'm going to place the side seam on the center front like this. I'll go ahead and sew away 1/2 inch. I'll also do the same thing on the other side. Align it properly and you're going to sew 1/2 inch away. This is it after sewing it. I went ahead and ironed it out, as you can see. Next is for me to make the padding for the bustier. I've not done the padding for it, as you can see. The only thing I did was to seal the bust area with the hairstay, as you can see what I did. So the next thing I'm going to do is to add the padding. I've gone ahead and cut out the padding. I have a full tutorial on how to cut out padding for your bustiers. So I'll go ahead and place this like this on it, although I've not done this type before, but I decided to do it for this video. I'll go ahead and place my tailor's arm under it like this. I want to align it properly on it making sure I use the sewing allowances that I have. I'm going to insert the hemming gum under it. So just go ahead and do the same thing I'm doing like this. I'll place it like this on it and align it properly and iron it. Do the same thing on the other side. Make sure to iron this properly so that this will adhere to your clothes, so that you know it's seamless. So after padding it, this is how it's looking. Next is for me to sew the neckline. So to sew that, I've already sewn the lining piece. As you can see, I added some bonings to it and I used paper gum stay for it. As you can see, the boning didn't get to the bust area, so I'll go ahead and place this properly like this, and I'm going to sew the neckline. I'll go ahead and sew ½ inch away because it's ½ inch I added, so I'll sew ½ inch here and also close the armhole with ½ inch. This is it after sewing the neckline, and I have ironed it properly. As you can see, if you have ironed yours properly, you should see an excess as the hemline. So you're going to trim this excess off. Your lining piece and your main fabric should always be equal. That way your top will come out very clean. After cutting out the excess both on the hemline and also on the side seam, making sure all your fabric are equal, next is for me to sew the hemline. I'll go ahead and place this like this, right side facing together, and I'm going to sew ½ inch away. After sewing it, this is the way it's looking, guys. Can you see how nice this is looking? The next thing we're going to do is to go over to the back. Before I go over to the back, if you have watched this video till this time, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. And to my returning subscribers, thank you for your support. Let's continue with the tutorial. To sew the back is very simple. I've gone ahead and cut it out, and as you can see, I have 2 pieces for the main fabric and also 2 pieces for the lining piece. This is a crop top, so just make sure you watch how I'm going to sew this, so that at least you learn 1 or 2 sewing tips and tricks. So next thing I'm going to do now is to sew the hemline, and I will go ahead and top stitch it. After sewing it, this is how it's looking. The next thing I'm going to do now is to add the zipper. I'm using open and close zip. That way it will be easy for the top, for you to open up the top. So I will sew the zip. After sewing the zip, I'll use the lining and turn it. You use the lining and turn it, and you do the same thing on the other side. After sewing the zip, this is how it's looking. Can you see how neat it's looking? Yeah, so the next thing we're going to do now is to trim off this excess. Remember, your main fabric and your lining fabric is supposed to be equal, so I'll go ahead and trim off all the excess. After trimming off the excess, next is for us to sew the neckline. For us to sew the neckline, don't make the mistake of zipping your zipper up. So make sure the zip is still down, and you're going to turn your main fabric and lining piece right sides facing together like this, and you're going to sew the neckline. After sewing it, this is how it's looking. Next is for me to join the front and the back together. So remember that we have closed the armhole for the front and we have not closed the armhole for the back. So I'm going to place the strap like this and turn the lining, use the lining to sandwich the front, and I'll go ahead and sew away the ½ inch. I'll also sew the armhole. So after sewing it, this is how it's looking. Very neat, right? Yeah, so the next thing I'm going to do now is to close the side seam. So I'll turn this right side facing together like this, and I'll sew the 1 inch I have added for the side seam. After sewing it, make sure to overlock the side seam. So I'll go ahead and turn it over like this and then this is how the crop top is looking. Is this a crop top or a bustier top? Please guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. If you didn't understand anything, let me know. Make sure to overlock the side seam. And guys, we have come to the end of today's sewing tutorial. Actually, yeah, I'll go ahead and zip this up. Remember, is a open and close zip. Yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video.